Hi, Miss Jenny.
Hi, Aubrey.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, this is super fun.
Okay, so what are we making today?
Okay, we are making boba tea with tapioca boba pearls.
Amazing. I first discovered boba tea when I was on a trip. I literally just thought of this, and I can't believe I haven't thought of this since you told me you were going to make this in Australia. And I went on like a hunt for boba tea, which was almost impossible to find in the state of Georgia
Okay.
at the time. And so my friend got me a kit to make it. And I used to make it on my own, like in high school, with the pre-made balls.
Okay. I
But tell me
remember
what we're
when
doing
we
here.
were in Florida and you had told me, I think one day we went and got, I think we called it bubble tea. We went
Yes.
at Bento. Or I forget, what is that place called? I forget it. The one at the town center. Anyway,
Yes.
I
We
remember
did. I forgot that.
bubble
I
tea.
totally forgot that.
That's
Yes.
the name for it, bubble tea or boba tea.
Okay, so the reason I'm excited to do this with you is because I love the way that you approach food. And I feel like it's kind of similar, but you are adventurous in different ways than I am. Like you think of different things that need to be remade in cleaner ways than I would think of. This being the perfect example. So tell me why we're doing boba tea.
Okay, boba tea for us because we eat pretty clean. So we typically eat gluten free and dairy free. And this is a special treat for us when we take our kids to go get treats instead of going to get ice cream or cookies or things like that. We decided let's go get boba tea because you can get this gluten free and dairy free because it's made with tapioca flour, which is gluten free, and
Yeah.
because you can get the tea made either without milk or you can add non-dairy milk. We always found that this was a fun treat for our kids. But when I started researching more into boba tea and how to make it at home and what the ingredients were, I found that there was a lot of sugar and syrup inside the actual tea because you usually get it flavored with things like strawberry or mango,
Yeah.
passion fruit, and there was so much sugar. Additionally, the little black boba pearls I found out were made from black food dye, and we try really hard to stay away from dyes in our family. So I decided to try to make this at home myself. And to get that classic black color, I tried charcoal powder, and I think it actually worked pretty good.
Brilliant. And it's like an added benefit.
Exactly. Two in one.
I love it. Can you tell me why you stay away from dyes?
So my husband has an autoimmune disease. He has vitiligo. And my little boy, Oakley, also has autoimmune problems. He was diagnosed with ITP 2 summers ago, which depleted his body of platelets. We did some genetic testing on him, and he also has the gene for celiac disease. So our doctor basically said, if you don't want that gene to turn on, don't give him gluten. And so just in doing more research on autoimmunity and trying to keep our bodies in a good state, non-inflamed state, we have tried really hard to avoid inflammatory foods,
Yeah.
such as gluten and dairy, but also dyes, like anything that isn't plant-based or natural, we just try to stay away from. I've heard a lot of problems with especially red dye, imitating symptoms of ADHD in kids. And so we try to avoid dyes at all costs in our family.
Yeah. So fascinating. Okay. Well, show me how to do it.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I've got first. I just want to make sure I've got everything.
Okay.
Okay. So I have my tapioca flour,
Uh-huh.
3/4 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
I've got my maple syrup.
Uh-huh.
I have charcoal in little capsules, 3 of them.
Yep.
I have really hot water,
Mm-hmm.
and then non-dairy milk, mango nectar, and green tea.
Yep.
And
But they're still in my fridge. So, oh, and your boba straws. Here, I'll get my
boba
notes.
straws. Okay, let's do it.
You have to have boba straws to make.
I know. How else would you get the boba?
Exactly. Can't spoon it out of a cup. That's not going to work.
Okay, so show me what to do.
Okay, so I got my tapioca flour on Amazon. It's organic tapioca flour. So that was an easy next day Amazon purchase.
Perfect.
Okay, so three quarters of a cup. And
Okay.
then since Aubrey is the recipe developing queen, how many tablespoons of hot water did you decide were good?
So I think that I got it down to 6 tablespoons of hot water, but it was for me when I made it, which was actually kind of fun because you could do this with kids. It was like that cornstarch science experiment.
I saw that. Mine did not turn out like that.
It's the weirdest, maybe it's my tapioca flour, I don't know. But if I had too much water in it, it was super glossy. And if I picked it up, it was solid and I could break it. But if I let it sit, it like melted into a puddle. So then when I added more tapioca flour in, it got to that consistency that I could cut the boba from. But we'll see what happens today. But that was the balance that I found.
Okay.
Was the 3/4 and 1 tablespoon plus 6 tablespoons of water. But let's see.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup of tapioca flour, and then charcoal capsules. You can get these really at any health food store. I think Whole Foods has them too. So
can you just like open them up?
Twist and open up, and then you want to throw away the little dissolvable capsules.
Okay, so my fingers.
I feel like, dirty fingers. So I feel like you'll see this nowadays in health food stores or even at juice bars. Well, they'll mix it up. A really good one is like charcoal with lemon and some cayenne.
Yes. Yep. Totally. Or like the charcoal toothpaste, charcoal toothbrushes.
Really, it's a good binder.
Okay, so I'm just gonna mix it together.
Yep, mix it together. I think.
Okay, I'm gonna show you what mine looks like. So it's not black, but it should turn black when we boil it.
Yeah.
So mine's like this.
It's a gray.
Yeah, it's a really pale gray.
Yeah, there's mine.
Perfect. Okay.
And then if you've ever had the little tapioca pearls, they have a little bit of sweetness in them. They're not completely flavorless. And so instead of refined sugar, we're going to do maple syrup.
Love it.
Okay, 2 tablespoons maple syrup.
2?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2. We're in.
Okay. Just gonna do the hot water for now. Okay, and actually we can go ahead and add the hot water.
Okay. So we're going to do 6.
Yeah, let's do 6 tablespoons of hot water. I just nuked my water in the microwave for 2 minutes and made it hot, but you can also obviously boil it too.
Like I said, that is the only reason I miss having a microwave, is to be able to boil water super fast.
It's so easy. That's how I make my tea in the morning too.
Okay, I'm making sure I'm not losing count. 6.
Okay,
Let's
so I did 6. Let's get together. I find that this dough is super dry and crumbly. And so I just keep adding the water until it the consistency that I want it.
Dude, I'm wondering if I added in 1 tablespoon because I was talking when I was 1 more tablespoon because I was talking when I did it.
Well, I don't think it'll matter because I think I'm going to have to add another tablespoon to mine.
Okay, I'm going to add another tablespoon of tapioca because mine's like super liquidy because I was talking and not counting.
Okay, I'm adding 2 tablespoons.
Oh, you know what? I know what happened.
What?
Mosby happened.
What does that mean?
Mosby got into my bowl.
And did what?
Because I came over here and I was like, it looks like someone's been messing with this bowl of tapioca flour when I had it prepared for our call. And he totally did. He must have taken some out because I looked in here and he had like poured a little bit of the mango nectar in.
Okay, you know what mine reminds me of? My dough. Reminds me of when you made those gingerbread cookies and how crumbly that dough was. This is always how, whenever I make this recipe, it's always how my dough turns out. It's just super crumbly and it almost doesn't hold together.
Yeah, the gingerbread, isn't it interesting? I just want to show you real quick the texture of mine. And this is when it needs 1 more tablespoon of tapioca. Just look at this. It's like the weirdest thing. See how it's all melty? But then I pick it up.
Okay, Aubrey, look at mine. I don't know why ours is so different.
I really think it's because Mosby came and took some of my tapioca flour.
Okay.
The stinker.
Okay, here's how I usually test mine. And I know we're going to cut ours and not roll ours into balls because that would just take way too long. But I usually test mine by just taking a little piece and rolling it into a ball to see if it holds its shape. And if it does, then I know I've added enough water to make sure that it holds together.
Okay. Yeah, when I tested this, I found that when it sits and is slightly glossy, it's just right. Okay. But when it is super, and then it looks dry when you touch it.
Yeah, I've just been kneading mine on the table until I get it the consistency that I want.
Can you see this?
Yes.
So it's crumbly, but like if I let it sit, it starts to have that little glossiness to it.
Yes.
I feel like to me is like the perfect state.
Okay. And that's similar to where mine is. Like mine's super crumbly, especially around the edges. Even while I roll this out, it crumbles pretty easily. But if I press it together, it will hold back its like texture. It'll hold to itself.
Got it. Yeah, just like those gingerbread cookies. And then when you cook them, or boil them,
then they get gummy and delicious.
Perfect. Okay, so you roll yours.
Yeah, I can't find my actual rolling pin, but usually so here's one of two ways to do this. You can either roll this out, cut this into little cubes, and then if you have an army around and they want to help you roll into little itty bitty balls, it is very time consuming. And so,
but if you have kids, it's a fun thing to do with them.
It is. That's a fun way to get the kids involved because it's like a Play-Doh experiment in the kitchen.
Yeah,
they actually eat it. My kids actually eat the raw dough, which I think is so fun.
Do they? I feel like your kids will eat anything.
They do. They eat anything.
They are not picky.
So even as I roll it, it's still cracking a little bit, and then I'll just have to push it together. But you want to get this as thin as you can because you just want the little squares that we're going to cut to be able to fit into the boba straws. And then once they cook, they expand a little bit. Okay, I'm going to cut the edges off of this.
I got it.
Did you get it?
Got it. I'm going to show you. Well, you can't really see, but I'll lift it up and hope that it doesn't fall apart. Okay. Yes?
Yeah, it looks good. Okay, here's mine. And I just cut off the little edges of it.
Perfect. Okay, doing that. I'm using a pastry cutter.
Okay. And Aubrey's a little bit fancier than I am in the kitchen, so I'm using that.
You know what? I didn't have one of these until like a year ago, and it's been a game changer. Okay, so really quick. You're cutting these into little squares, and then are you separating them as you do that?
You know what? I did it for the first one just to kind of look at the size. This is always what I find, is that even if you think they're small enough, make them a little bit smaller.
Okay. So should I get my water boiling?
I did that. Yes. I just maybe.
Perfect. I just turned mine on. Okay. So I'm going to cut them like super duper small.
If I have my kids with me, then after I do these little squares, then I'll just have them take them and roll them into little balls. And sometimes I find when I first started doing this that I was like flouring my working surface on my table with flour, but I don't think you have to. It doesn't really stick that much. Okay, so I'm going to just put all of mine in this little sieve that I have so that way I can just really gently pop it in the water.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to do the same. I think I told you, but my kids broke 2 of my kitchen cabinets in 1 week. So you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm literally holding up the cabinet door right now.
So
to make sure it doesn't fall off.
Okay, and so the other thing is that with this dough, they do stick together a little bit into the squares. So
just gonna break them apart.
I'm just making sure that they're all separated.
Okay.
They for sure will not fit into the boba straw.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, I see. Like mine they've all kind of stuck together, so I just have to separate them gently. But they're staying nice and in their square shape.
Yeah, and the beauty is that these don't have to be perfect. As long as they fit into the boba straw, they're going to taste amazing, and the kids are going to, and I'm going to love them.
Yes, as will I.
It's like one of my favorite treats too. Okay, here's my little boba squares.
Okay,
there we go.
Show you mine.
Okay,
good.
Let's boil these babies. All right, into boiling water.
Okay.
The first time I made these, I boiled them too long. I think I boiled them for about 15 minutes, and they actually dissolved in the water. Now I watch them just to make sure that they don't dissolve. And they should start to float as they cook.
Okay.
And I'll just let them cook for maybe like 5 minutes, and then I'll test it and see if it has that gummy flavor.
Got it.
The other thing you can do is that if you don't plan to make the boba tea today, or even if you have too many of the boba pearls and you can't use them all today, I just store them in maple syrup in the fridge.
Perfect.
And then
how long do they last in there?
They'll last probably a week in the fridge.
Okay.
Syrup, they'll last a while. Okay.
Do you have to cover them?
I put them in a little container with a lid with maple syrup.
Okay.
I'll probably do that when I pull them out now anyways, just to keep them from sticking together. I'll just pour in some maple syrup, but the maple syrup also makes the tea mixture a little bit sweeter too, which the kids like.
All right. I'm just mixing mine so they don't stick together.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the best. Okay. So like 5 minutes, you think?
You can say 5. I'm gonna try to snatch one out and taste it.
Okay, so you kind of told me in general how you guys eat and why you eat that way, which to me is always fascinating. And like, it definitely does not escape me that the option to eat the way that we eat and that our bodies best respond to is very first world. And it's, that doesn't escape me.
Sure.
But there's also the reality of it's not about weight. It's not about appearance. It's about actually feeling healthy and not feeling like crap on a day-to-day basis. And that's not the case for everybody. Some people can eat however they want to eat and they're just fine. But I think your family and my family happen to be the kind that function a little bit better without gluten and other things. What would you say are your biggest substitutes? Like in order to avoid gluten, what's your go-to for flours or other pre-made options, and same with sugars and dairy or non-dairy options?
Definitely for the kids, the gluten-free bread that you can find essentially anywhere has just been a game changer for us, because we do a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or turkey sandwiches, or bread with our eggs in the morning. So that's been a game changer just because of the kid situation. I typically have like King Arthur's gluten-free flour always in my cabinet because I can use that for anything. We do like fried chicken. Sometimes we'll do fried okra. We like to do the fried things on occasion that we don't get to do in restaurants because it's always made with regular flour. We have that on hand. I always have coconut sugar on hand, honey, and maple syrup. I have dates in the fridge too. Mm-hmm. And then I alternate between non-dairy milk. So sometimes we'll do oat milk, sometimes we'll do almonds, sometimes we'll do macadamia nut, coconut milk. So we rotate between the milks. So
very cool.
So I'm going to pull the boba out of the.
Okay, let's do it.
I took mine out and then I just filled my jar with a little bit of maple syrup.
Perfect.
To let it sit.
Okay, adding that in.
And I'm just getting my tapioca mess off of my countertop real quick.
Go for it. Got to clean as we go.
I don't usually clean as I go. That really annoys Dave. He's like, whenever you cook, it looks like a bomb went off in the kitchen.
I know Lockwood's always like, I can tell when you did a cooking video because the kitchen is a disaster.
Disaster. I'm like, I clean the kitchen anyways. It doesn't matter if it looks like a bomb went off or not.
That's why I love having a massive deep sink so you can't tell what's in it unless you're standing over it. This is a good one. A couple of mine stuck together, so I'm just going to have to kind of tear them apart.
Okay.
But this seems to be my most perfect boba representation.
Let me see if I have a perfect.
And I'm hoping that it'll fit through the straw.
Okay. Mine are pretty tiny. So there's mine.
Okay, so how much do you put in? Show me how you actually put it all together.
How I do it. I'm going to fill it up with ice first.
Okay.
I made my green tea earlier.
Yes, I did the same. I had mine pre-steeped.
So let's see. I'm going to do
Like half a cup-ish?
I just filled it about halfway up, and then I'm going to top the rest of it with mango nectar.
What I found is I had to really look at the label because so many of the mango nectars had added sugar.
This one might actually. Let's see.
No judgment here. But I just was able to find one that didn't have refined sugar in it, but I had to pay attention to the label.
Yeah, you have to look at the labels.
So you've got your green tea and your mango nectar, and then did you put milk in or no?
I didn't do milk. I'll have to ask. I'm going to give this to Oakley and Callie when we're done. Sometimes Oakley wants milk. Callie never wants milk.
I'm going to do a little milk in one of them.
Okay.
I just have a non-dairy milk here. I think this is oat milk.
Okay. And I am going to do, I always, whenever we go to a store and get boba, I always ask for extra boba. So I'm going to go heavy on the boba.
I'm adding a little bit more tea.
And so the other good thing is that because this isn't traditionally as sweet as the ones you get in the store, I like that because you store the boba that we made in the maple syrup, and just by adding spoonfuls of it, it does make the tea even sweeter.
Yes, totally. Look at how pretty mine is with the milk in it.
Oh, I love that. Maybe I should.
So pretty. Okay, so you're adding in like 1 or 2 tablespoons of boba?
I did 3 full spoonfuls.
Okay. See? I'm actually getting a little bit of maple syrup in with mine, like you said.
Should I go get Oakley and Callie and have them come up and taste it?
Yes. I wish my kids were here to do that.
Can you guys say hi to Miss Aubrey?
Hi.
Hi, guys. Did you guys get to have some fun time so your mommy could do this with me?
Yeah. You like your app time?
Your app time?
Do you guys want to try our boba tea? Okay, I have to ask you first though. Does anybody want milk in their boba tea? Sometimes you do. I didn't know if you would today. Okay, look at Aubrey when you taste it and tell me.
You have to tell me if it's yummy.
You see the boba going up his straw?
Yes, is it so good?
What do you think about it? Do we get, here, let Callie taste it. Yes, the boba was small enough to fit in the straw. Well,
yay!
wait, we get 1 thumb up, 2 thumbs up, or what? 2?
Double. I mean, that's kind of a quadruple.
10 thumbs, 10 fingers.
Yes, I'm so glad.
You guys can go take those. I'll finish talking to Aubrey. You guys can go. Can I have a sip? Can I taste it?
Bye, you guys.
Can we go downstairs?
Not with
Thanks for sharing your mama with me.
Say you're welcome. Say you're welcome.
And your boba recipe. Do you guys help your mom make the boba sometimes?
Yep. We make a big mess.
Okay, so I can store this in the fridge. I gotta put it in a container for up to a week, as long as it's covered in maple syrup and has a lid on it.
Yep, exactly.
And mine turned out good in terms of toughness. Like they aren't too tough. They're nice and chewy.
They're nice and chewy. Yep, I like the chewy texture. And I like that the boba balls have that sweetness to them too.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah. Did you taste
Yay.
it? Did they fit up?
I did. And I love the one with the milk.
I need your boba straws. I like those.
I just ordered these online. They're glass, which means that I honestly think they're a little bit, the rim's thicker, so you have to cut the boba a little bit smaller, but it's super yummy. Thank you, Miss Jenny.
A perfect little treat.
Cheers.
Cheers, Aubrey.
Thank you, love.
Yes, this was so fun.
Of course, let's do it again.
Deal.
Thanks for taking the time to do this with me. Yes, please. I love that recipe, and I like have no idea how to make that.
Okay, we'll do that next time.
Okay, and thank you so much for taking your time with me.
You're so welcome.
I think it's perfect, and I'm gonna go drink it right now.
Okay, sounds good. All right, bye,
Okay,
friends.
see you.